Alright, cheaters, welcome back. Today we got a review on a new Hitbox controller. Just picked it up in the mail. This is the GuileKeys leverless controller arcade stick. It's a Chinese GP-2040 controller. Not my favorite, as they tend to break pretty easily. I've ordered plenty of these, and they always feel very good, but they tend to... the USBs are very brittle, and the chips are just like the lightest touch or the lightest toss. Like if you even if you just toss it on your bed, like you'll sometimes the controllers will just break. But we're gonna ignore that part. What I want to talk about is how broken this layout is. So Hitbox. This is a normal Hitbox that I play on, and most people would say this is cheating, but it's not really that bad. It's not too egregious. Leverless has an issue where being on the right side is a bit awkward because when you cheat, you put DDI right and left here. A lot of Kazuya videos have guides on how to add DDI right and DDI left and DDI down right here to super cheat legally. And when you're on the left side, you get to stay on the home row here. But when you're on the other side, you have to kind of scrunch your index finger here to get the other direction when you're doing electrics, and it's really awkward on your hands. But as you see with these, no problem here. You just kind of find a way to rebind this button to another button that can act as a punch. Let me see, is this controller plugged in? It's not. Let me plug it. Replay might be broken, guys. Like I said, these controllers are very brittle. All right, here we go. So basically what I did, and if you guys want a guide for this later, or I can link a guide of someone showing you how to keybind on GP-2040. If you guys want to pick up one of these on Amazon, they're pretty cheap. Like, I bought this to get ready for the Quamba Sapphire, which is like a $200 controller that has a way worse layout than this. And you can get this on Amazon for like 50 bucks. Keep in mind, there's a chance it breaks. You'd be very delicate if you buy any like Chinese controllers that are made with these chips. But the layout is important. So normally, Mishimas will rebind movement back and front. But you'll notice I don't need to do this anymore. This is just a whatever button. So normally you'd have to electric on the right side like this, and when you're on the left side, you'd have to electric. Oh, let me see if it'll let me. Actually, we cross-sided, so you guys can see the default way where you hit forward, and this is down, and this is also forward right here, and this is punch. And all you literally do is forward, and you tap all three of these buttons at the same time. Well, you want to hit down like a frame earlier, so it's kind of like a gallop. But that's not really the egregious part of this controller. You can do that with this controller. What you can't do on this controller is these three buttons up here. So on the cross-up, these buttons exist. But on leverless, you will be surprised how little controllers have three up here. It's generally just one or two, and there's never a button right above here. And that is honestly, if you're a cheater, you should be sad about this, because ideally we want to cheat. So also don't mind the slippers. No feet on stream. That's just one thing I got. Anyways, so if you want to cheat, you want three buttons up here, because when you're cheating, you don't want to hurt your hands. When you're confined to a smaller button layout here, the left side is super easy with the electrics because your hands stay linear. But when you're on the right side, to hit back, your finger has to scrunch down. When there's buttons up here, you can completely mitigate. You don't have to ever come down here anymore. What you can do is you can bind this button to heat engage, right? And heat engage allows you to have a second electric keybind. So let me get on the other side here. And you'll notice since I have move forward now on the upper row, instead of the default cheater button down here, we're going to super cheat. So normally on the other side, the electric is here, your hand's nice and ergonomic. But when we're on our bad side, it is no longer a bad side because you do it the same way. You just come up. So just like the electric going right, going left, you don't have to scrunch your finger anymore. And you can cheat just the same. Your thumb feels pretty comfortable. And when I saw the Quamba Sapphire, it doesn't have this third button. It has just these two buttons. And I was thinking, that's pretty cool. Maybe I can try to electric that way. But if you really think about it, it's still really... Like, if I keybound these two buttons here, and I moved here, you'll notice the thumb is now tucking, and you're sort of manipulating your hand in a way you really don't want to, and it's still really uncomfortable. But being able to just slightly shift up with almost zero, effort. You don't have to maneuver your hands in any weird way. There's no contortions. It's just as simple and easy as the left side. This is probably the main reason I bought this controller, just to test it out. And my God, is this absolutely, it brings the cheating game to the next level. If you are a cheater connoisseur, if you like to cheat on pad, if you like to cheat on Hitbox, this is the wave. There is so many fucking buttons on this thing. I feel like if you go to a local on this thing, you will get laughed out of the venue. They will bully you out. It might be legal to play this at their tournaments, but anytime you sit down with someone, they're gonna be like, bro, are you fucking serious? Yo, T.O. Yo, who's this guy sitting there? What is this? A fucking harmonica? But yeah, this is nice. As someone who has a lot of hand issues and electrics going this way is awkward. You see how, like, to get that movement button, you have to scrunch down here. You don't have to do that anymore. It's now just effortless. The hands are no longer going to be in pain. So for this side, it's literally just stab these two fingers up here with the down button. And if we're on the other side, you just go from, instead of this input, it's literally just shifting up slightly. And you will never miss an electric. For the most part, right? The reason why it's harder to miss an electric this way is because you're using the same hand, the same striking position to time it. It's very hard to miss a frame on input when the same hand is doing all of the work. You're just slapping it down. And this isn't specific to this controller. Like I said, I do this all the time on the left side and the right side on controller with as minimal buttons as this. You don't need a lot of buttons, but it does get painful on the right side when you do this a lot. I still prefer a more minimalistic style like this controller. I do think this is, if you look at the difference, it's a little gaudy, guy. It's a little much. To be honest, ideally I'd want a controller that's like this with two buttons right here. And maybe a button here for training mode, but I mean, come on. This is mostly just a review for perfect, like, Electric Wing Godfist style Mishima things. For the most part, if you guys want a quick idea, I do think the LEDs, Jesus Christ, are way too bright. The buttons feel really nice. They're Kale V2s. They sound great, but like I said, these are coming from China, so they have a long trip here. Mine came with broken buttons. But luckily I'm a keyboard freak. I have a lot of buttons in my my closet that I'm able to take out and put in, and a lot of the buttons were kind of ripped out. So luckily it made its way here, and I get to experience how, I'm not gonna say broken, how easy it is to play Tekken 8 on a Mishima on the right side with a Hitbox again, because if you're a Hitbox player and you play on the right side, I'm sure you know what I mean. When you're KBDing, this is an awkward input. You're fighting against the muscles. Normally, this way is super nice. This way gets very awkward, very strenuous, And especially if you're trying to cheat and get that punch, this is not very fun. You know, when you want to take something seriously, you need to take care of your hands. And if we're cheating anyways, right? Let's be honest. If pad players are cheating, if hitbox players are cheating, if cross-up players are cheating, do it ergonomically. Try to find the most effortless way to do these mechanics. Because, let's be honest, if you're a cheater and you're cheating, and if you're competing at all, you have to cheat to compete. It's like sports. If the best are doing steroids, you are an absolute idiot for not taking steroids. So, if you're on pad, if you're on hitbox, find the most ergonomic way to get all of these exploits through. Obviously, following the rules of the World Tour. Make sure if you do bind these things and you go to a tournament, make sure you use the DDI inputs and not another down or up input, because technically that would be against the rules. But as long as you have DDI enabled, it will act as another stick, and everything should be fine. But yeah, this is just kind of my small mini review. Buttons sound great. The LEDs are a little obnoxious. You can turn those off in the settings. Very thin. I do like a thin controller, but Jesus Christ. The lights are a little bit overbearing. But yeah, I'll let you guys know if this thing is still alive in the next week. I give this thing a month before it breaks, so, but it's the great thing with Amazon, right? We'll return it. But I do hope more companies add these two buttons up here. I think it's overlooked how important these two buttons, you know, need to be here, not here. For the most part, this button is a little out of your way. But for the cross-up, it makes sense. For the cross-up, it makes sense. For the hitbox, in my opinion, it doesn't make too much sense. As you see, the game's acting weird. My start button's not working, but we're back to normal. But for the most part, for now, it's working. I might do a video on KBDs as well, but to be honest, I still do it the old-fashioned way with plinking. I know there is like a way to do it with the other side. It's not that fun for me. I feel like I can't rip him as fast. But with the right side, if I show you, it's a little bit awkward. So I've been thinking about maybe, you see I have forward here. You can do it like this, down, forward, down, forward, down, forward. You could have done it with the ring finger, but to be honest, I don't think either of these feel that comfortable. I don't like taking, the thing is, I don't like taking my hand off of home row, which is why the punch being down here is always a bit awkward. And it's really simple if you just think of only shifting up for electrics. It makes things so much easier, so much less stressful. And the cool thing about the heat button being here is that it also acts as a back 2-2, down 1-2. So there's going to be a lot of buttons here. It's going to be hard to return back to home row. So if you are ripping electrics this way on the upper row, you can easily go into your flowcharts like so. Missed it, but as you see, the buttons are still kind of giving me what I need. So electric, electric, boom, boom. It kind of just, it plays the game for you. It doesn't play the game for you, but it allows you to use two keybinds that are the electric and back 2-2 legally without both of them being basically two. So yeah, that's my mini review of this broken controller. Yeah, pick it up on Amazon. Try it out for yourselves if you've ever been interested in cheating and you don't want to spend too much money. This is, like I said, it's pretty cheap, 50 bucks. And Amazon's always got a great return fee. And in my opinion, I think most people are going to return it. I think a lot of the keycaps, they're brittle, they're weak, they break pretty easily. I remember when I was buying these, I had to return. I returned mine like 3 times, and they kept giving me new ones, and I got exhausted to the point where I bought a hitbox from the Grand team, and great quality. I would love if the Grand team added these 2 cheater buttons, please. Please add 2 cheater buttons and maybe like 1 button up here, because these buttons are kind of hard to hit when I'm resetting the training mode. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. If you want quality, it's hard for me to recommend this controller if you're looking for a quality build. It feels plasticky. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but if you you can hear the squeaking if you tilt it. It's a very weak controller. If you do buy this, I would recommend maybe some padding on the bottom so it doesn't slip off your legs. It's pretty slippery, but it's a pretty bare bones controller. The fact that something as cheap as this gives you 58,000 buttons is insane to me. But yeah, I found this on Amazon a couple days ago, and here it is at my house. Thought I'd make a video on it because I've been dying for an electric, a path to do electrics on the right side without having to scrunch my fingers down. But that's this is kind of like a speedrun review of this controller for electrics. If you guys want a more detailed guide on how to set these controllers up on the GP-2040 configuration, I have no problem doing that. But there's a lot of resources online on how to do that. But I do know it's still possible to get lost, and maybe some of those videos aren't specific enough, and I have no problem doing that if anyone has any questions. But yeah, anyways, see you guys in the next one. Keep cheating, my friends.